What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host that's really sweaty right now because it's really hot, Captain Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDontWorkHereLady. Help me, guys, I'm dying. My closet does not have ventilation. Okay, so this first story, I'm actually really excited to read because the title alone is pretty funny. Crazy lady thinks I work in an anime store because I'm Asian. How y'all doing? I wanted to post this experience after my friends and I were reminiscing of a time before this lockdown and quarantine. While in a dungeon raid, we brought up my experience with a Karen. It's been a long time and I nearly forgot such a funny moment. It's been maybe 4 years ago, so it's not verbatim. So here we go. Here's the cast. There's me, which is me, duh. Crazy lady. Employee. Owner. A few years back, a friend and I went out of state to visit another friend of ours. When we arrived, we decided to go to his favorite anime goods store, mainly to wait until he was done with his work. This place had everything an anime fan could want. Gunpla, t-shirts, plushies, figurines, DVD and Blu-ray box sets, etc., etc. We browsed through all of the goods and even made friends with some of the employees. Most of it was our experience in conventions, recommendations to hotels, and other tidbits of advice to help make our anime fandoms even more fun. I went to the manga sections to see the prices and if I was gonna take some home. I went up and down the tightly packed bookshelves when I heard the cry of a crazy lady. Excuse me! I'm debating on getting Until Death Do Us Part or Monster Musume. Hello! At this point, I was wondering if there was an employee around because the wailing from Crazy Lady was getting louder. All the while, I was still in a mental war with myself over which manga I should buy. Eventually, Crazy Lady hovers next to me, a foot away, her hands on her hips and her face looking down. Mind you, I'm exactly 5 feet tall, so everyone is tall from my perspective. Yo, do I, need to talk to you in China to get your attention? I just realized she was talking to me for the first time. No, you don't need to do that to get my attention, but it is an easy way to lose my attention. Crazy Lady did not look like the usual Karen. Rather, she was some stuck-up college student. Fake blonde hair tied in a ponytail, yoga pants, a university sweater, and looks like she just came from a workout class. Maybe it's the pre-evolution of a Karen, or a child of a Karen because she was giving off that "let me see your manager" vibe. I don't know. I have yet to encounter the typical middle-aged Karen with a short hairstyle. Excuse me, you can't talk to me like that. You can't talk to me like that either. Her face tries to load a response to my attitude. After a stare down that lasted a few seconds, I put away the manga and move on to the next set of shelves. I was hoping that was the end of it. But no! Crazy Lady comes after me as I'm going through the next set of shelves. I don't know what your problem is, mister, but you need to help me. It's your job. Stop screwing around with the books and help me find my sweater. I look around. No, it's not. This is definitely not my job. I don't work here. Yes it is. Who else would work here? An actual employee? Maybe? Like the one by the front door? Yeah, well, you're here too, and I don't like this service or your attitude. Don't think I'm stupid. You Asians run this store, so you definitely work here. Unknown to her, the store was not completely run by Asians. The owners, who I had a brief conversation with earlier that day, were an Asian couple. The staff, on the other hand, are not all Asians. The cashier was a Hispanic lady with an Idol Masters t-shirt. The fella restocking and cleaning some of the stuff was a blue-haired white dude with a Foxhound sweatshirt. Badass. Why she thought all the staff had to be Asian is beyond me. Back to my conversation. Oh my god, how hard is it for you to do your job? Hello, I know you understand English. Again, I do not work here. Yes, you do! Let me make this easier for you to understand, lady. I do not work here. I am from New York City. I do not live in the state and I am not employed in the state. Most employees would still put up with your attitude and help you. Notice how I'm not helping you in any way? Wanna know why? Before I could let her finish, I answered for her while doing my lamest attempt at a ballerina jeté and singing my statement. Why? Because why not make this a little more fun? I don't work here. Beautiful. I got to see Crazy Lady's face contort into a mix of both confusion and frustration as I moved away from her sights and was back to browsing. All the while, I could hear the most audible groan from the other side. Fast forward to a few minutes later, and we were just about done looking around. My friend just had to get a master grade Barbados, I don't watch Gundam, Gunpla. We headed to the cashier to pay for our stuff when suddenly Crazy Lady was right behind us. Before my friend could get a word in to the cashier, Crazy Lady jumped to our side and spoke to our cashier. Excuse me, I have a problem with this employee here. Employee looks at me, then back at Crazy Lady. Voice change because I found out it's a woman. I'm sorry, he doesn't work here. I'm going to guess that she doesn't like the idea of being wrong. So she doubled down on this and just talks louder. Like, don't even lie to me, B-word. I know this Chinese guy works here. I've seen him work here before. This employee was stunned that she was just cussed at by some lady. You could sense how pissed the employee was, but she kept her poker face there and tried her damn best to resolve the issue. Miss, please, he doesn't work here. He's a customer. He's not even from the state. If you just give me a moment, I can help you. No. Don't treat me like an idiot. You need to get your manager and have him speak with your employee. Don't cover for him. Just get your manager and talk to this guy. He's not an employee. If he was, he'd have helped you already. The owner then comes in to the rescue as he comes through the front door and could hear the argument. What happened here? Oh my god, are you the manager? Yes, I own this store. What happened? Yeah, your staff has been nothing but rude. This guy, she points to me, did not help, gave me crap attitude, and your cashier is defending him. I want him fired. Now, you can't treat a frequent customer like that, I'm assuming. Owner takes a look at me and I just shrugged. While the cashier had an exhausted look while shaking her head, owner, at this point, is being bombarded by Crazy Lady about how I was a bad employee and how she didn't deserve this sort of treatment. The whole spiel. I could see the owner was not having it. Instead of listening to any more of Crazy Lady, he simply opened the door, pointed out the door, and looked away from Crazy Lady. You go now. You need to go now. What? Hello? Did you not understand me? I was treated rudely by your staff. Owner continues to not look at Crazy Lady and kept pointing outside. No, you don't understand. You go now. Owner points to me and the cashier. He doesn't work here. She works here. You go, or I call the police. Oh my god, you guys, I swear you just lost a frequent customer. You have no idea how many followers I have. Go. You bothered the store. You go now. Don't need you. Crazy Lady drops her stuff, a sweater and a cat plush, and just storms off. But not before she gives off that high-pitched scream, groan mix in the parking lot. The owner's wife comes out of the office and wonders what just happened. She saw through the security cameras and asked what the problem was. The owner said something in Chinese as he watched the Crazy Lady leave the store. I'm guessing he was making sure she wasn't coming back. He tells his wife what happened, and the employee simply does her job of ringing up my friend's stuff, who was just in awe of what happened. Friend and I, plus the cashier, simply laughed it off. The owners of the store, wife and husband, apologized to me, but I wasn't too bummed about it. I told him I lived in New York City and crazies are practically a normal occurrence. But to think that I'd have such an encounter in a store that sells anime stuff just goes to show you to be very wary of freaks. They can appear in any store or restaurant. That was a good story. Usually I don't work here, ladies, usually the same stuff, and I said usually twice. I don't usually do that. Usually. It was just kind of funny how they were not completely run by Asians. That was funny. Oh my gosh. But that anime store, I guess if you want to call it that, because there's much more going on there. Sounds incredibly cool. When I was in, you're never gonna guess where I'm gonna say next, New York, like I don't freaking mention it every other day. I went to a lot of places there, so I'm sorry if that's all I can reference. Anyways, when I was in New York, there was this really, really cool Japanese store just in general, because there was just a whole bunch of Japanese cultural items, mostly cultural items in the basement, and the second floor was just regular books and stuff, and then the third floor was like Weeb Central, with a really cool cafe thing, and they had some really good macarons, and some insanely refreshing peach tea. Holy crap, peach tea is the best tea. Sweet tea, I guess. And they had the coolest Dragon Ball manga box set. And this is Dragon Ball up until he marries Chi-Chi, okay? Oh my god, it was so cool. It was $120 though. I didn't want to spend that much money. Anyways, really cool story. And why don't you shout the store out though? I kind of want to check it out if I can, possibly. Alrighty, this story's called Snobhole Needs to Mind Her Own Business. Possible Tourette Shopper. As mentioned in prior threads, I'm a grocery delivery vendor who stocks brand-specific items for supermarkets but am not employed by any of the stores directly. I have a route of stores to visit and pull product from the back of a specific brand of food and refresh the supply. Most name brand beer, sodas, chips, snack cakes, and other brands employ their own workers who aren't store employees. I get several I Don't Work Here Lady incidents per day, but most are oops sorry situations. After reading this subreddit a bunch, I started to scope out where in the store the over-the-counter reading glasses sections are, in case I encounter any of the extra special hose beasts who insist that specifically I must help them, so I can lead them there to help them pick out a pair. Yesterday at Small Shard, there was a little old gray-haired man shopping who would occasionally head spasm rather violently like he had just been stun-gunned in the neck, and each time would shout very loudly. I know from watching a cute TikToker who has a less severe form which resembles this motion, that this simply could be Tourette's syndrome. People with this seem to have a signature verbal yelp, but don't have any cognitive choice in what the yelp is. The TikToker has a pretty cute yelp and explains some aspects of their own variety and experience in some posts. So this guy wasn't hurting anyone, but would, just occasionally, jerk his head very violently but catch himself each time, and would shout at a really high volume in the moment of surprise. As he went around shopping, he could be heard making this shout from 8+ aisles over. He wasn't interacting with anyone, just minding his own business and going off a shopping list like any other person. He came down a somewhat crowded aisle I was working on at the time, and I just let him be, but saw other people staring and giving him some space. I understand also that some people who have this experience a higher frequency of tics if under additional stress than just the normal frequency alone, such as being judged in public by it. So I just let him do his thing. As he rounded the corner out of sight, a few people who were near me on this aisle muttered that the man was obviously crazy and that he shouldn't be out in public and might hurt someone. I explained a little about the possible condition and that this could actually be a pretty big milestone for him personally, being brave enough to go out in public and trying to control it, and being able to handle the stress of the stares and whispers, and that if people could stop talking about him, it could actually help reduce the outbursts, possibly. One feral snobhole of a lady came up to me a little while later after he'd moved on several aisles over, clip-clopping her business Karen shoes the wrong direction down the aisle and not wearing a mask, naturally, and on a mission. She sternly barked at me about him and told me that he needed to be removed because he was frightening other customers. I told her politely I wasn't employed by the store and that I didn't have any say in who gets removed. I tried explaining that I hadn't seen any frightened customers myself yet, before getting cut off as she flapped her mouth blubber at me again about how concerned she was that he was going to hurt someone and that he didn't belong out in public. I was tempted to say that if anyone needed removing, it should be her, via her own 2 cloven hooves right out the door with that attitude. I was under a time crunch and didn't really have the time to find a ladder to climb up in order to clock one across the chin that high up in the air. I just dismissed her away again that I am not employed by the store. There's nothing I can do about it. I stated that I'd seen him for about the past hour and he hasn't made any sign of hurting anybody, that he's just, and then glared at her with eyebrows raised and leaning towards her, minding her own business. She squinted at me and scowled, and then clopped away, and I didn't hear anything from her again. My main regret was not having available time to ask him if I could gather up what was left on a shopping list or help in some way. Carry on the good fight, Mr. Man. I'm on defense for you. Okay, that was wholesome. Also, really good figurative language there. Holy crap, that was fun to read. The whole getting a ladder to clock one across the chin that high up in the air, and the whole cloven hooves right out the door with that attitude thing. Good stuff. Also, very good job on thinking rationally and trying to ease the concerns of other people who were being kind of jerky by assuming things about a guy that they know nothing about. And one thing I do know about people with disabilities or conditions, they don't like it when people assume things about them. And I'm sure those of you who fit into that criteria can agree with me on that. And actually, those of you who do have disabilities or conditions or something like that, if you're okay with it, of course, why don't you talk to us and try to educate us on how to treat someone with your specific condition or just a condition or disability in general. And oftentimes, the best thing you can do is nothing. Just treat them like the normal people they are, because they're literally just people who are different in a different way than you are different. You get what I mean? Yeah, you do. You're smart. I know you are. Yes, you are. Alright, this story's called Husband Goes Full Drill Sergeant on a Karen. Before I start this story, I have to tell you about my husband. I'm French and we met while he was on vacation in Europe. One thing led to another and now I live in Ohio with him. Poor gal. He is a hard-working gentleman, an Army veteran of 2 conflicts, and thought he has a very serious and almost hostile demeanor. Think resting B-word face, but angrier and on a guy. He is a big teddy bear, quick to make a joke or pull a prank and easy to laugh. He is also very protective of me. Since I'm not here to gush on him, I'll go on. No, it's cute. We were out getting groceries last week. As we were checking out, I was backing up all our stuff because the store now requires that you bag your own goods if you bring your own bags. No big deal. He pays, and I stayed to help a very elderly lady behind him bag her groceries and put them in her cart. He had helped her unload them, and we offered to help her put them in her car. She shuffles away from the register, and I move to follow. As I turn away, I hear behind me, "Where the hell do you think you're going?" I turn to see a very angry-looking woman glaring at me. I told her politely that I don't work at the store and I had just helped the elderly lady to be polite and that I was now leaving with my husband to go home. I had never met an American Karen before, so I thought this would be the end of it. I turn to walk away and feel a vice grip on my arm. "Don't be lazy, just do your job and help bag my groceries." I didn't even have time to respond. She had barely finished speaking when my husband wrenched her hand off me and was yelling in her face. This was the first time in the 10 years we've been together that I saw the old soldier come out. His nose might have been 3 inches from hers, and his voice was loud and frightening. Alright guys, it's time for me to do my thing. Just be ready, cause I'm gonna go ham. "Who the hell do you think you are? How dare you put your hands on my wife? She told you she doesn't work here! Are you too freaking stupid to understand simple English? Go pay for your crap, bag your own damn groceries, and don't you dare utter another freaking sound!" The silence after that was intense. A store full of people could hear a pin drop. The look on her face wasn't even angry. It was pure terror. She shuffled back to her aisle and waited for the cashier. My husband went to thank the old lady and said, "I am so sorry you had to hear all that, ma'am. I apologize if my language was offensive. I hope you still will allow us to help you load your groceries into your car." It was surreal. Like he had just flipped on a switch and flipped it back off. Also, we got chased down by the store manager who suggested we could be banned because of the yelling and the bad language. Husband just shrugged and said they had better ban the Karen too for assaulting me, and that there are other grocery stores in town. We just go to this one because it's close. We didn't get banned. Personally, I'm disappointed in my performance, but I had to restrain a little bit because I got in trouble because there's neighbors and stuff and I didn't want to get in trouble again. And it's currently 12:22 a.m., so I guess it's understandable. However, I hope you guys enjoyed my screaming. I enjoy doing that when I can, especially because that was an actual drill sergeant scream, and I've been told that my screaming sounds like a drill sergeant screaming. And I tried there. I did. Also, this is a funny story. I don't know, that whole relationship seems adorable. Also, cool guy, drill sergeant, screaming at a lady in a store. That sounds like I'm being sarcastic, but that's actually cool. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.